Your attention is being auctioned off to the highest bidder every single second of your waking life, and most of you are letting it happen without a fight. Right now, as you listen to these words, there is a multi-billion-dollar industry employing the world's most brilliant psychologists and engineers for one specific purpose: to keep you staring at a screen. They don't care about your dreams. They don't care about your career. They certainly don't care about your mental health or your relationships. They care about your data, your clicks, and your time. This is the invisible war of the 21st century, and if you are living like most people, you are losing. You are losing your ability to think deeply, your capacity to focus on a single task, and your power to build a life of meaning. Most people are drifting through a digital fog, reacting to every buzz, ding, and red dot as if their lives depended on it. They are addicted to the cheap dopamine of a like or a comment, while their real-world ambitions sit gathering dust. They complain about not having enough time, yet they spend 4, 5, or 6 hours a day mindlessly scrolling through the curated highlight reels of people they don't even like. This is the reality for 99% of the population. They have become digital serfs, harvesting data for tech giants in exchange for a few drops of temporary validation. But you are here because you want something different. You feel the friction. You know that your current relationship with technology is unsustainable. You feel the itch to check your phone when you're standing in line, the anxiety when your battery hits 10%, and the hollow emptiness after an hour spent down a rabbit hole of useless content. The Digital Minimalism Blueprint is not about living in a cave or throwing your smartphone in a river. It is about reclaiming your sovereignty. It is about deciding, once and for all, that your focus is your most valuable asset and that you will no longer give it away for free. True change does not come from a weekend retreat or a temporary app blocker. It comes from a fundamental identity shift. It comes from the internal discipline to say no to the trivial so you can say yes to the extraordinary. Most people believe that they are in control, but their behavior proves otherwise. They are the ones being used by the tools, rather than using the tools to build a life. This audiobook is your roadmap out of the fog. It is a direct, actionable, and perhaps uncomfortable guide to rebuilding your brain and your habits from the ground up. We are going to strip away the distractions, challenge the myths of the hyperconnected world, and install a new operating system for your life. One based on deep work, intentional connection, and the supreme importance of being present. The stakes could not be higher. Your ability to focus is the primary determinant of your success in the modern economy. If you can't focus, you can't compete. If you can't compete, you will remain part of the distracted masses. It is time to stop being a consumer and start being a creator. It is time to reclaim your focus. Chapter 1: The Invisible Chains. You are currently living in a state of digital capture, and the first step to freedom is admitting how deep the hooks go. Most people believe they use social media or check their email out of necessity or a simple desire to stay informed. They tell themselves they are being productive or staying connected. This is a lie. You are not checking your phone because you want to. You are checking it because you have been conditioned to. Modern technology is designed around the principles of variable reward, the same psychological mechanism that makes slot machines so addictive. Every time you pull down to refresh a feed, you are pulling the handle on a digital slot machine, hopping for a hit of social validation or a piece of interesting news. Most of the time, you get nothing, but that occasional hit is enough to keep you coming back thousands of times a day. Think about the last time you were truly alone with your thoughts for more than 5 minutes without reaching for a device. For most people, that idea is terrifying. They have lost the capacity for solitude because they have been trained to outsource their consciousness to a screen. The invisible chains of the digital world are forged in the fires of convenience. It's easier to scroll than to think. It's easier to react than to act. It's easier to watch someone else live their life on a screen than to do the hard work of building your own. You must realize that every app on your phone has a team of people whose only job is to figure out how to take more of your time. They study your eye movements, your scroll speed, and your patterns of engagement. They know you better than you know yourself, and they are using that knowledge to bypass your willpower. Willpower is a finite resource, and you are bringing a knife to a gunfight if you think you can simply try harder to check your phone less. You need a system. You need to understand that the 99% are currently in a state of cognitive decline. Their attention spans are shrinking to the length of a 30-second video. They cannot read a book, they cannot hold a deep conversation, and they cannot work on a complex problem for more than 10 minutes without seeking a distraction. This is your greatest opportunity. While the rest of the world is getting noisier and more distracted, the value of focus is skyrocketing. If you can break these invisible chains, you will have a competitive advantage that no amount of talent can replace. But breaking them requires a brutal audit of your current habits. You must stop making excuses for your distractions. You must stop saying you need to be on these platforms for work when you spend 80% of your time there consuming garbage. You must recognize the physical and mental cost of this hyperconnectivity. It leads to increased cortisol, higher levels of anxiety, and a feeling of constant low-level stress. You are living in a state of continuous partial attention, never fully present anywhere. Your brain is being rewired to prefer short-term stimulation over long-term fulfillment. To break free, you must first see the chains for what they are. They are not tools of connection, they are tools of extraction. They extract your time, your focus, and your agency. Most people will listen to this and feel a sense of defensiveness. They will try to justify their screen time. They will say they need it for the news or to stay in touch with family. Don't be like most people. Be honest with yourself about the cost. Every minute you spend mindlessly consuming is a minute you could have spent building a skill, deepening a relationship, or improving your health. The chains are invisible, but their weight is holding you back from the person you are meant to become. It is time to start cutting them, one by one. This process starts with the realization that your current state is not natural and it is not inevitable. It is a choice you are making every time you pick up that device without a clear, productive purpose. Chapter 2: The Myth of Multitasking. The greatest lie of the digital age is that you can do two things at once and do them both well. Most people pride themselves on their ability to multitask. They have 14 tabs open. They are responding to Slack messages while in a meeting, and they are checking their texts while trying to write a report. They think they are being efficient. They feel busy, and in their minds, business equals productivity. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of how the human brain works. Neuroscientifically, there is no such thing as multitasking for cognitively demanding tasks. What you are actually doing is task switching. You are rapidly moving your attention from one thing to another, and every time you switch, you pay a heavy cognitive penalty called switching cost. When you move from a deep task to a notification and back again, a part of your brain is still stuck on the notification. It takes several minutes, sometimes up to 20, to fully regain the level of focus you had before the interruption. Most people never reach a state of deep focus because they never go 20 minutes without an interruption. They are living their entire professional lives in the shallow end of the pool. They are productive in the sense that they move a lot of emails around, but they aren't producing anything of lasting value. High-value work requires concentrated, uninterrupted effort. It requires the ability to hold complex ideas in your mind and manipulate them. You cannot do that if you are constantly being pulled away by the trivial. Think of your brain like a high-performance engine. Every time you switch tasks, you are turning the engine off and then trying to restart it immediately. Eventually, you burn out the starter. This constant switching leaves you feeling exhausted at the end of the day, even if you haven't actually accomplished anything significant. You feel drained because you've spent all your energy on the switching cost rather than the work itself. Most people use multitasking as a way to avoid the discomfort of hard work. Deep work is difficult. It requires mental strain. It's much easier to feel productive by clearing your inbox or scrolling through a news feed. But the 99% will always stay in the shallow end because they are afraid of the silence and the effort required for true depth. You must reject the myth of multitasking. You must embrace the power of single tasking. This means doing one thing and only one thing until it is finished or until a predetermined block of time is over. It means closing the tabs, putting the phone in another room and telling the world to wait. The world can wait. Most things that feel urgent are actually just loud. They are distractions masquerading as priorities. When you learn to focus on one thing at a time, you will find that you get more done in 2 hours of focused work than most people get done in an entire 8-hour day of distracted flailing. This is not hyperbole. It is a mathematical reality of cognitive efficiency. You are reclaiming your time by refusing to fragment it. You are respecting your brain enough to give it the environment it needs to succeed. Most people will never do this. They will continue to juggle a dozen things poorly and wonder why they are stressed and stagnant. You will be different. You will build a fortress around your attention. You will understand that your output is a function of time spent multiplied by the intensity of your focus. If your intensity is near zero because you are constantly switching, your output will be near zero, no matter how much time you spend. To be a digital minimalist is to be a master of focus. It is to understand that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your attention. If your attention is fragmented, your life will feel fragmented. If your attention is whole, your life will feel purposeful. Stop trying to do it all at once. Do the one thing that matters most and do it with everything you have. Chapter 3: The Dopamine Trap. To reclaim your focus, you must understand the neurobiology of your distraction. Most people have heard of dopamine, but few understand how it is being weaponized against them. Dopamine is not the chemical of pleasure. It is the chemical of craving and anticipation. It is what drives you to seek, to explore, and to find rewards. In our evolutionary past, this was essential for survival. It drove us to find food, water, and mates. But in the modern world, the digital environment has hacked this system. Every notification, every like, every scroll through a feed triggers a small spike of dopamine. This creates a loop. You get a spike, you feel a momentary sense of reward, and then you crave the next one. This is the dopamine trap. The problem is that digital rewards are cheap and infinite. You don't have to work for them. You just have to move your thumb. This constant stimulation desensitizes your brain. Over time, the things that should bring you deep satisfaction, reading a book, working on a hobby, spending time in nature, start to feel boring. They don't provide the same rapid-fire dopamine hits that your phone does. You are effectively frying your reward system. Most people are walking around with a baseline level of stimulation that is unnaturally high. They are bored by reality because reality doesn't come with filters, fast cuts, and instant validation. This is why you feel the urge to check your phone even when you know there's nothing important there. You aren't looking for information, you are looking for a hit. You are an addict, and the first step to recovery is acknowledging the addiction. The 99% will spend their entire lives in this trap, chasing the next hit while their real-world potential withers. They are like lab rats pressing a lever for a pellet of sugar, unaware that the lever is connected to a cage. You must break the cycle. You must engage in a dopamine detox. This doesn't mean never using technology again, but it does mean lowering your baseline level of stimulation. It means intentionally choosing activities that have a delayed reward. It means embracing the discomfort of boredom. Boredom is not the enemy. It is the space where creativity and self-reflection live. When you feel bored and you immediately reach for your phone, you are killing a potential insight or a moment of clarity. You are suffocating your own mind with digital noise. To beat the dopamine trap, you must cultivate hard dopamine over easy dopamine. Hard dopamine comes from finishing a difficult workout, completing a complex project, or learning a new skill. It is earned through effort and provides a lasting sense of accomplishment. Easy dopamine is consumed. Hard dopamine is created. Most people have a diet of 90% easy dopamine. You need to flip that ratio. You need to train your brain to enjoy the process of effort again. This requires a period of withdrawal. When you first start to limit your digital consumption, you will feel restless. You will feel anxious. You will feel like you are missing out. This is a good sign. It means your brain is beginning to recalibrate. Do not give in to the craving. Stay in the discomfort. Use that restless energy to do something productive or to simply sit and think. You will find that after a few days, the world starts to look brighter. You will notice things you haven't noticed in years. Your ability to concentrate will return. You will find that you can actually enjoy a long walk without a podcast in your ears. You will realize that you don't need the constant validation of the internet to feel like you exist. The dopamine trap is a prison with invisible bars, and the key is your own self-discipline. Stop letting tech companies dictate your emotional state. Reclaim your biology. Reclaim your drive. Understand that a life of meaning is built on a foundation of sustained effort, not a series of momentary distractions. Chapter 4: The Digital Declutter. The environment you live in dictates the behaviors you perform. Most people have a digital environment that is a cluttered mess of distractions, and they wonder why they can't focus. If your desk was covered in trash, you would clean it. Yet, your digital desktop, your home screen, and your inbox are overflowing with garbage, and you leave them that way. It is time for a digital declutter. This is a surgical operation on your digital life. You must start by questioning every single app, subscription, and notification you have. Most people have hundreds of apps on their phone, most of which they don't use, but all of which are designed to grab their attention at some point. Go through your phone right now and delete every app that does not provide clear, tangible value to your life. If it's just there for entertainment or killing time, it's a parasite. Delete it. You can always access these things through a browser if you truly need to, but removing the frictionless app access is essential. Next, look at your notifications. Most people are at the beck and call of their devices. Every time a notification pings, they stop what they are doing to check it. This is insanity. You are allowing strangers, marketers, and algorithms to interrupt your most precious moments. Turn off every single notification except for those that involve a direct, time-sensitive communication from a human being, such as a phone call or a text from a family member. Everything else can wait. You do not need to know that someone liked your photo in real time. You do not need a news alert every time something happens across the globe. You are not a first responder for the world's trivia. By turning off notifications, you move from a reactive state to a proactive state. You decide when to check your messages. You decide when to engage with the world. The 99% are terrified of missing out, so they leave all the doors open. As a result, they never have a moment of peace. You must be willing to miss out on the trivial to gain the essential. A digital declutter also includes your digital social circles. Unfollow every account that makes you feel inadequate, angry, or distracted. Most people follow hundreds of influencers who contribute nothing to their growth but take a massive amount of their mental energy. Be ruthless. If an account doesn't inspire you to be better or provide you with valuable knowledge, it shouldn't be in your feed. Your attention is your most valuable resource. Stop spending it on people who don't matter. This decluttering process is not a one-time event. It is a philosophy of life. It is about maintaining a lean, focused digital footprint. It is about choosing quality over quantity. Most people think more is better, more information, more connections, more apps. But in the digital world, more is usually just noise. The digital minimalist understands that clarity comes from subtraction, not addition. When you clear the clutter, you create space for focus. You create space for the work that actually moves the needle. You will feel a sense of lightness when you look at your phone and see only the few tools that actually help you navigate the world. You are no longer being hunted by your device. You are using it as a tool. This is the difference between being a master and a slave. Take the time to audit your digital life today. Don't wait. The longer you live in the clutter, the more it drains your energy. Reclaim your space. Reclaim your mind. Chapter 5: Building the Fortress. Once you have decluttered your digital life, you must build a fortress around your focus. This is about environmental design. Most people rely on willpower to stay focused, but willpower is a weak tool. It is much more effective to change your environment so that focus is the path of least resistance. You need to create physical and digital boundaries that protect your deep work. This starts with your physical workspace. When you are working, your phone should not be in your sight. Research shows that even the mere presence of a smartphone on a desk, even if it's turned off, reduces cognitive capacity. It's a constant pull on your subconscious. Put your phone in another room. Put it in a drawer. Make it difficult to reach. If you have to walk 20 feet to check it, you are much less likely to do so mindlessly. Most people have their phones within arm's reach 24 hours a day. They are never truly free. You must also design your digital environment for focus. Use website blockers during your work hours. Set up a do not disturb schedule that automatically kicks in at certain times of the day. If you work on a computer, use full screen mode for the application you are using to hide the distractions of the taskbar and other open windows. These are simple steps, but most people are too lazy to implement them. They would rather complain about being distracted than take the 10 minutes required to set up their defenses. The 99% live in an environment that is designed to distract them, and they do nothing to fight back. You are different. You recognize that your focus is under attack, and you will build a fortress to protect it. Another key element of the fortress is the concept of sacred spaces. These are areas of your life where technology is simply not allowed. Your bed should be a sacred space. No phones, no tablets, no TVs. Your dining table should be a sacred space. No screens during meals. Your morning walk should be a sacred space. By creating these technology-free zones, you give your brain a chance to rest and recover. You remind yourself that you can exist and thrive without being connected. Most people take their phones to bed, check them first thing in the morning, and scroll while they eat. They are never truly present in their own lives. They are always somewhere else, in some digital netherworld. Building the fortress also means setting expectations with others. Let people know that you don't respond to emails or texts instantly. If someone really needs you, they can call. By training others to respect your time, you give yourself permission to focus. Most people are afraid of being perceived as unavailable or rude, so they become slaves to other people's schedules. You must value your own time more than the convenience of others. This is not about being selfish. It's about being effective. When you are focused, you can provide much more value to the world than when you are distracted. The fortress is not a prison. It is a sanctuary. It is the place where your best work is born. It is the place where you become the best version of yourself. Protect it with everything you have. Do not let the digital world invade your sanctuary. Stand guard at the door of your mind and be very selective about what you allow in. Chapter 6: Deep Work Mastery. Now that you have the environment, you must master the skill of deep work. Deep work is the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. It is a superpower in our increasingly competitive 21st century economy. Most people have lost this ability. They spend their days in a state of shallow work. Tasks like answering emails, attending unnecessary meetings, and performing administrative chores that don't require much brain power and don't create much value. Shallow work keeps you busy, but deep work makes you successful. To master deep work, you must treat it like a muscle that needs to be trained. You can't expect to sit down and focus for 4 hours straight if you've spent the last 5 years scrolling through TikTok. Start small. Commit to 90 minutes of uninterrupted work on your most important project. During this time, there are no exceptions. No checking email, no, just one quick search. No getting up for a snack unless it's planned. You sit there and you do the work. If you hit a wall, you sit with the frustration. Most people quit the moment it gets hard. They use a distraction as an escape from the mental strain. But the strain is where the growth happens. That is where your brain is forming new connections. That is where you are producing high-quality output. The 99% are shallow workers. They are easily replaceable because anyone can answer an email or post on social media. Very few people can sit down and write a complex piece of code, design a brilliant marketing strategy, or analyze a difficult set of data for hours on end. By mastering deep work, you make yourself indispensable. You must also understand the mechanics of deep work. It requires a clear goal and a way to measure your progress. Don't just work on the project. Instead, say, I will write 1,000 words of the report, or I will solve these 3 engineering problems. Having a concrete objective helps your brain stay locked in. You also need to manage your energy, not just your time. Deep work is exhausting. Most people can only do about 4 hours of truly deep work per day. Don't try to grind for 12 hours. Instead, aim for 4 hours of high-intensity focus and use the rest of your time for shallow tasks and recovery. Most people do the opposite. They spend 8 hours doing shallow work and wonder why they never make any real progress. You must also learn to embrace the ritual of deep work. Have a specific time, a specific place, and a specific set of actions that signal to your brain it's time to go deep. Maybe it's a certain playlist, a specific type of tea, or simply the act of clearing your desk. These rituals prime your subconscious for focus. The 99% wait for inspiration to strike. The digital minimalist knows that inspiration is a byproduct of discipline. You show up, you do the ritual, and you get to work. Deep work is the path to mastery. It is how you become a world-class performer in your field. It is the only way to produce work that truly matters. If you are not doing deep work, you are just taking up space. You are letting your potential go to waste. Commit to the depth. Reject the shallow. Understand that the ability to focus is not a gift you are born with. It is a skill you develop through consistent, daily practice. It will be hard at first, but the rewards are infinite. Chapter 7: Social Media Sobriety. We need to have a serious conversation about social media. For most people, social media is the single greatest drain on their potential, their happiness, and their time. It is a carefully engineered psychological trap designed to keep you in a state of constant comparison and craving. Most people believe they are using social media to stay connected, but the research shows the opposite. Heavy social media use is correlated with increased loneliness and depression. You are not connecting with people. You are connecting with their avatars. You are seeing a curated, filtered version of their lives and comparing it to your unfiltered, messy reality. This is a recipe for misery. The 99% spend hours every day scrolling through these digital illusions, feeling a low-level sense of inadequacy. They are addicted to the likes because it's a quick fix of social validation, but it's a hollow one. It doesn't build real self-esteem. It builds a fragile ego that is dependent on the approval of strangers. You must achieve social media sobriety. This doesn't necessarily mean deleting every account, although for many, that is the best path. It means fundamentally changing your relationship with these platforms. Stop using them as a default activity when you're bored. Stop using them as a source of self-worth. Recognize them for what they are: advertising platforms that use your attention as the product. Most people are prosumers. They consume content and produce data. You need to become an intentional user. If you use social media, have a specific purpose. Maybe you use it to share your work, to find specific information, or to coordinate real-life events. Once that task is done, get off. Don't scroll. Scrolling is the death of focus. It is the act of giving your mind over to an algorithm that doesn't care about you. Think about the highlight reel effect. You see someone on a beach, someone with a new car, someone getting a promotion. You don't see their struggles, their doubts, or the mundane hours of their lives. When you compare your behind the scenes to their highlight reel, you will always feel like you are losing. This is a cognitive distortion. The digital minimalist rejects the game of comparison. They understand that their only true competition is the person they were yesterday. They find validation internally, through their own actions and achievements, not through a number on a screen. Most people are terrified of being forgotten or becoming irrelevant if they aren't active on social media. This is an ego-driven fear. True relevance comes from the value you provide to the world, not from how many followers you have. In fact, some of the most successful and impactful people in the world have zero social media presence. They are too busy doing the work to post about it. They understand that every hour spent on social media is an hour not spent on their craft. If you find yourself unable to control your use, then you must be radical. Delete the apps from your phone. Only check them on a desktop once a week. Or better yet, take a 30-day break. Most people who do this realize that they don't actually miss it. They realize how much noise it was adding to their lives. They feel a sense of peace they haven't felt in years. Social media sobriety is about reclaiming your mental space. It's about deciding that your life is more important than your digital image. Stop living for the likes. Start living for the life. Chapter 8: The Boredom Advantage. In a hyperconnected world, boredom has become a lost art. Most people will do anything to avoid even a few seconds of boredom. They check their phones in elevators, in bathrooms, at red lights, and while waiting for a friend. They have lost the ability to simply be. They view boredom as a problem to be solved with more stimulation. But the digital minimalist knows that boredom is not a problem. It is an advantage. Boredom is the space where your brain processes information, makes connections, and generates new ideas. When you are constantly consuming, your brain is in a passive state. It is taking in, not putting out. It is only when you stop the flow of information that your mind can start to wander and create. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history came during moments of boredom, while walking, while staring out a window, or while lying in a bath. Most people are drowning out their own genius with a constant stream of podcasts, music, and social media. They are so afraid of silence that they are deaf to their own thoughts. You must learn to embrace the boredom advantage. This means intentionally creating periods of low stimulation. Go for a walk without your headphones. Sit on a bench and just watch the world go by. Drive your car in silence. At first, this will feel incredibly uncomfortable. Your brain will scream for a hit of dopamine. You will feel an almost physical itch to check your phone. This is the digital twitch. But if you stay in the boredom, something magical happens. Your mind starts to settle. You start to notice things you missed. You start to have ideas that you never would have had otherwise. You start to get to know yourself again. The 99% are never alone with themselves, and as a result, they don't really know who they are. They are just a collection of the opinions and information they have consumed. You want to be someone who has original thoughts. You want to be someone who has a clear vision. That requires the space that only boredom can provide. Think of boredom as a form of mental fasting. Just as fasting allows your body to heal and detoxify, boredom allows your mind to reset and refocus. It clears out the digital toxins and allows your natural creativity to surface. Most people are mental grazers. They are constantly snacking on small bits of information, never allowing themselves to get truly hungry for a deep insight. You need to be willing to be hungry. You need to be willing to be bored. This is also where resilience is built. If you can handle being bored, you can handle almost anything. Most people are so fragile that they can't even sit through a commercial break without reaching for their phone. They have no mental toughness. By practicing boredom, you are training your mind to be still. You are gaining control over your impulses. This self-mastery will translate into every other area of your life. You will be more patient, more focused, and more present. Stop running from the silence. Stop trying to fill every gap in your day with noise. The bored mind is a fertile mind. Give your brain the space it needs to grow. Reclaim the boredom advantage and watch your creativity explode. Chapter 9. The Discipline of Disconnection. To sustain a life of focus, you must master the discipline of disconnection. This is the practice of intentionally turning off the world so you can tune into yourself. Most people are always on. They are accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They take their work home with them, they check their emails at dinner, and they respond to messages in the middle of the night. They think this makes them dedicated or hard-working. In reality, it makes them ineffective and burnt out. The human brain is not designed for constant connectivity. It needs clear periods of rest and recovery to function at its peak. The discipline of disconnection means setting hard boundaries on when you are on and when you are off. This starts with your morning and evening routines. Most people start their day by checking their phone. Before they've even gotten out of bed, they've allowed the stresses of the world, the demands of their job, and the opinions of others to invade their minds. They are starting their day in a reactive state. You must protect your first hour. No screens for the first 60 minutes of the day. Use this time for movement, meditation, reading, or planning. Set the tone for your day from a place of internal strength, not external reaction. The same applies to your evening. Most people scroll until the moment they close their eyes, which ruins their sleep quality and fills their subconscious with digital clutter. Disconnect at least 1 hour before bed. Let your nervous system wind down. Read a physical book, talk to your partner, or reflect on your day. This is how you ensure that your sleep is actually restorative. The 99% are chronically sleep-deprived and mentally exhausted because they don't have the discipline to turn off their devices. They are slaves to the glow of the screen. You must also have digital Sabbaths, extended periods of disconnection. This could be 1 full day a week, or a weekend every month where you are completely offline. No email, no social media, no internet. This might sound radical, but it is essential for long-term mental health and focus. It allows you to reconnect with the physical world. It reminds you that the internet is a tool, not a reality. When you return from a period of disconnection, you will find that you are more productive, more creative, and more present. You will have a perspective that the always-on crowd completely lacks. You will see the big picture while they are stuck in the weeds of the immediate. The discipline of disconnection is about taking back your power. It's about deciding that you are not a cog in a machine that never stops. You are a human being with a need for rhythm and rest. Most people are afraid of what will happen if they disconnect. They fear they will miss an opportunity or a crisis. But the truth is, most crises are not urgent and most opportunities can wait. By being willing to disconnect, you are signaling to yourself and the world that you are in control. You are not a slave to the buzz in your pocket. You are a master of your own time. Practice the discipline of disconnection every single day. Protect your mornings, protect your evenings, and protect your sanity. The world will still be there when you turn your phone back on, but you will be different. You will be recharged, focused, and ready to lead. Chapter 10: Sustaining the Blueprint. The Digital Minimalism Blueprint is not a temporary fix. It is a lifelong commitment to excellence. Most people will start a program like this with enthusiasm, only to slide back into their old habits within a few weeks. They treat it like a fad diet rather than a fundamental change in their lifestyle. To sustain your focus in a hyperconnected world, you must undergo an identity shift. You must stop seeing yourself as a distracted person trying to focus and start seeing yourself as a focused person who values their time above all else. When your identity changes, your behavior follows. You don't have to try to stay off your phone because that's just not who I am anymore. You must realize that the pressure to be connected will never go away. If anything, it will increase. Technology will become more immersive, more addictive, and more pervasive. The world will continue to demand your attention. You must be the anchor in the storm. This requires constant vigilance. You must regularly audit your habits and your environment. Every few months, do another digital declutter. Check in with your fortress and see where the walls might be weakening. Are you letting a new app creep into your routine? Are you starting to check your phone in bed again? Correct the course immediately. Do not let the small slips turn into a total collapse. Most people are victims of habit creep, the slow, gradual return of bad behaviors. You must be ruthless with yourself. The 99% will always take the path of least resistance, which is the path of distraction. You must choose the path of most resistance, which is the path of focus. This is where the tough love comes in. There are no excuses. You either value your goals or you value your distractions. You can't have both. If you say you want to be successful but you spend 4 hours a day on social media, you are lying to yourself. Your actions reveal your true priorities. Sustaining the blueprint also means finding a community of like-minded people. Most of the people around you will be distracted. They will think you are weird for not being on the latest social media platform or for not responding to texts instantly. Let them think that. Their opinion doesn't matter. What matters is the quality of your life and the work you produce. Seek out other creators, deep workers, and minimalists. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to be better, not people who encourage your mediocrity. Finally, remember why you are doing this. You are not reclaiming your focus just for the sake of being focused. You are doing it so you can live a life of meaning. You are doing it so you can be present for the people you love. You are doing it so you can build something that lasts. The digital world is a playground for the distracted, but the real world is the arena for the exceptional. Stay in the arena. Keep your eyes on the prize. The Digital Minimalism Blueprint is your weapon in the war for your mind. Use it every single day. Never let your guard down. You have the power to stay focused, to stay intentional, and to stay free. The 99% will continue to drift, but you will move with purpose. This is your life. Reclaim it. A closing. You now have the blueprint, the path from the distracted masses of the 99% to the focused, impactful life of the top 1% has been laid out before you. But knowledge is not power. It is only potential power. The true power lies in the application. Most people will listen to this and feel a temporary surge of motivation. They will think about how much better their lives would be if they were more focused. And then they will pick up their phone and start scrolling. They will fall right back into the trap because the trap is comfortable. Do not let that be you. The transformation you are seeking, the clarity, the productivity, the deep sense of satisfaction, is on the other side of your discipline. It requires you to make the hard choices every single day. It requires you to say no to the easy dopamine so you can build a life of hard-earned success. Imagine yourself a year from now if you actually apply these principles. Imagine the level of mastery you could achieve in your work. Imagine the depth of your relationships when you are truly present. Imagine the peace of mind you will feel when you are no longer a slave to an algorithm. That person is within your reach, but you have to earn them. This is an identity-level shift. You are no longer someone who is hunted by technology. You are a digital minimalist. You are a master of your attention. You are a creator of your own reality. External validation is a shadow. Internal discipline is the sun. Stop looking for likes and start looking for results. Stop watching other people's lives and start building your own. The fog is lifting. The path is clear. It is time to step out of the digital noise and into the light of your own potential. The world needs your focus. It needs your deep work. It needs the best version of you. Go out and build the life you were meant to live. Reclaim your focus. Reclaim your life. The blueprint is in your hands. Now get to work.